got to get rid of that guy. There you go. He's gone. There we are. Welcome into the Radio Misfits show. After a long, well, it seems like a long break. This is the last show of the week, and it's only the second show of the week that we've done. Let's bring in James Parker. He's the other misfit. That's it. We just got two misfits today.
I left my drink in the other room. Can I be right back?
Yeah. Go ahead. I got all kinds of nonsense going on here on my end. All right, while he's gone, I'll tell you what we're doing today. Welcome to the Radio Misfits. We do this every Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. I also do a stream Monday through Friday at noon. The noon stream is called High Noon, and it's hot topics, current events, trends, whatever it is that's happening in the world. It's topic after topic after topic after topic. We just move on. I tell you what's trending. I tell you what the headline is. I tell you why it's trending, and then I give you a hot take, and then we move on. We don't do politics. We don't do MAGA versus libtard. We don't do that nonsense. It's just all the stuff that people normally like to talk about without, all the nonsense that we have to put up with today. No, none of that stuff happens. That's every Monday through Friday, noon till about 2 o'clock each and every day. So come join us. This show, as I mentioned, the Radio Misfits, typically it goes off every Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Me, Pugs Moran, he, James Parker, see him there. And E is typically with us as our third, but he's not here. He's not here today, James. So in his stead, we have James and I are radio partners, but I have a mistress, and he would be my radio partner mistress, Dr. Robert Schwartz.
Hey.
Look at him. All right. Schwartz, how are you? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you being here.
Great to be here. Nice to be talking to you again.
Where are you talking to us from? The great abyss? What is that? What you calling from a cloud? What are you? Oh,
what you don't like my virtual background?
James, what do you think? Doesn't it look like he's in a cloud? It looks like he's just.
There's a wall behind me.
Yeah, it's just a blank space. He looks like he's, I don't know, in a classroom or an institution or something.
Yeah. See, I was being a bit more poetic. I went with the cloud.
You didn't give me a whole lot of time to set up here and put a bunch of tchotchkes behind me like you have.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's all right. We'll get past it. E's not here tonight. E might be jumping in. I sent him a link. So if anybody hears that boom, boom noise, let me know. Because with 3 people up on the side, I won't see him when he appears. So if I miss that boom, boom, you know what I'm talking about, James, right? Do you hear that noise, or am I the only one that hears that noise?
I definitely hear it, and I won't miss it.
Okay. All right. So he could be coming along. We'll see. He had big doings tonight. And you two fine gentlemen, Dr. Robert Schwartz, and of course, Misfit James, you are fathers of men. You are fathers of boys, as am I, as is Emil. We are fathers of men. Emil's not at the show today because he went and saw Barbie with his 12-year-old son. I'm sorry. I thought I was kidding. I was hanging out with them today. Walked in there and they're like, yeah, we're going to a movie. And I go, what are you doing? You going to see Barbie? I was totally kidding. Like I was kidding. And they're like, yep. I'm like, oh boy. As fathers of men, Schwartz, I'm going to let you take this first. Would you, first of all, any interest in seeing Barbie, or feel that's a good way for a father-son bonding moment?
Look, I think it's actually encouraging that we now live in a society where 2 10-year-old girls can identify as father and son.
Yes, it's very nice that he and his son can
bond over a Barbie movie. Yeah,
and they can feel free to experiment and, more importantly, explore other sides of their personalities that other times, other generations may not have allowed. James, how about you? You got a whole bunch of crazy boys there now. You're going to see Barbie. You've got daughters. You're going to see it. But what about you?
No, I'm a horrible dad in the fact that I've been able to dodge some of this stuff. So I have sort of that Matrix bullet dodge thing down, but the father version of it, because I didn't have to watch Barbie, and I did get hit by the Sophia the First theme, but I don't know. Frozen 2, still hadn't seen that yet. So sometimes you get hit, sometimes you dodge. But the way it works out, because I have 2 sons and 2 daughters, is wifey is out of town this week. And so Granny is scooping in and helping me with the kiddo. So she's taking them to a movie today and tomorrow. Today, the boys chose the new Spider-Man movie. Tomorrow, the girls are seeing the new Barbie movie.
There you go.
All 4 of them are drug into both
And you don't got to do any of it. That's good. That's nice.
See, I have normal teenagers who don't want to spend time with me.
So you don't ever have. Well, James still has little ones, so you know they still think Dad's kind of cool.
Yeah, right. The idea of my kids being seen at a mall with me is just mortifying to them.
Oh, it ruined their life, right? My kids don't think I'm awful yet, but I know it's
coming
any day, and
they're gonna
have to. I'll drop them off a block away, and I'm not gonna play the game where you like try and embarrass them or whatever. But
oh no, it's fun. You should.
Yeah, no, you really should. You're
it's the best thing you can do.
It's one of my favorite things. Every time I pick up my son at school because he's hanging out in front with all of his buddies, I roll up with the windows down, cranking "Simply Irresistible," and then I rev the Malibu, and then he gets in. But here's the weird thing about me and my son. My son thinks it's hysterical. my son loves it, so he still thinks I'm fun. Sorry, James, you were saying.
No, they're going to hate me on a long enough time scale, and I'll act like it's cool and stuff, but I just know like it's gonna hurt my feelings so bad.
Stop having feelings. You'll do better.
Can you guide them through that with daughters? Is there
me?
Yeah, because you've got two.
Yeah, I've got two. Well, look, I've experienced it with all of them, but I first experienced it with my son when he was like, I don't know, 11 or 12. We were going to some event at his school, and all of a sudden he's walking like 20 feet ahead of me as we're walking across the campus, like to get in there. I immediately knew what was happening because I remembered me from that age. But that was like with my mom, not with my dad. Yeah. And I was like, hey, why are you walking so far ahead of me?
Well,
and he was like,
James,
he runs back to me and he
Does
goes,
it hurt? Does it hurt?
Not really.
I mean, I know you're not gonna cry or nothing, but like deep down inside, like I think it's gonna hurt my feelings really bad.
James,
I'll figure out how cool I am at some point.
James, you know how you're dead inside, and I think that you're just a black vortex of emptiness when you crack your heart open. Okay, that's nothing compared to what's going on with Schwartz. Yeah, Schwartz really doesn't care. When he says, I don't care that my kids hate me, he really doesn't.
They don't hate me. They just don't want to be seen with me. It's different. I think they like me. They just find me mortifying.
And imagine that, James. This man is an accomplished, well-known surgeon. My kid introduces me to all of his friends, and I'm out of work and living in a guest house. So this makes no sense. If you, sir, you have pelts, your son should be very proud to be walking the halls of his middle school or high school with.
I pointed this out to him at the time because he said, Dad, it's just not cool for me to be here with you. I go, it's a father-son event. And let me point out to you that if it's not cool for anyone to be seen together, it's not cool for me to be seen with you.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm a plastic surgeon. You're basically nobody at this point.
You're a son of a plastic surgeon.
Yeah.
No,
they've got it backwards.
I've explained it to my kids in a way that I think worked because, I tell my kids, like, I love you and stuff, but like your TV shows and your music and stuff, it's just not cool to me. You know how Paw Patrol is to you? That's what your music and your culture and your idea of cool, that's what it looks like to me. Right? Like, oh, that's for babies. And so, yeah, whenever you're playing like Olivia Rodrigo, I can dig it for what it is, but I don't think that's cool. Right? And so I kind of turn it around on them like, look, I look down on you like you look down on people who are younger than you, and it looks like baby stuff. So whenever they try to pull it, oh, Dad, you're not cool or whatever, because they've tried to pull that so far, and I've kind of mind twisted them out of it. They're like, oh, okay.
That's a problem for me because both my daughters are technically more mature than I am, so I can't really pull that one off on them.
I can see that. Yeah, I mean, music is different though than almost anything else in that our music, the reason that old people, and when I say old people, I mean us, when old people don't like the younger generation's music, it's often not because the music isn't good. It's often simply because there's no emotional tether to it. we will put on Motley Crue and play it for our 13-year-old and go, "Kickstart My Heart is the greatest song of all time," because you remember being drunk at a backyard keg party when you were singing that song. That's the emotional tethering. The whole thing about adults, grown-ups not liking their kids' music, I push back on that. I will give it an open listen. I'll give it, I'll be like, I'll give you an example. My kid is really into, who's my kid? I can't even go. Anyway, there's some idiot that my kid is really into. And I'm like, you know what? He's maybe not the idiot that I think he is. He's not that bad. I can't remember his name.
Young Gravy.
Pop Smoke or something. I don't know. It's something like that.
He's dead, isn't he?
Kind of old.
Probably. I don't know. But it's somebody he likes stuff I've never heard of. All right. Well, let's see. I guess E is not going to be showing up. So let's talk about what we're doing on today's show. We're going to get into a bunch of things. First and foremost, we're going to talk about the Jake and Dan situation going on over at the Ticket. James, I know you and I are both sort of itching to get into this. You following it? You heard the latest? They put out a video tonight.
I haven't heard of this video situation. Oh my goodness. No. So last I heard is, some people who thought, the Ticket, they're number one. Why would anything change? Well, they're looking around in the last few months. Mike Reiner's left, Norm Hitzkes has left, and now one of their midday shows decided that they're going to abruptly
an anchor show. If the Ticket had a future, like if the Ticket was going to go on for another 20 years all strong, it was going to be off the back and sweat of this show. That's why this is a huge broadside to the Ticket.
Well, I think part of the Ticket's success is you can look at that station and be like, that is the textbook poster child for what radio people talk about when they're saying a morning show can just anchor your whole day. And they've had a solid morning show, and there hasn't been a whole lot of bullet hole shot in that, right? Or am I wrong?
No, the morning show over there, the Musers is number one, I believe. But so has every other day part. The Ticket has been number one in every day part for 20 years. And maybe there've been a book there where it's been off, but certainly in the last few books, like within the last 2 years, number one across the board. Every single book, every single day part. And that's with the major changes that went down with the initial retirement of Mike Reiner, which was 2 years ago. They moved around the deck chairs, and a lot of people were saying, the Titanic's going down, but no, they didn't. They have not missed a step. This, for those of you who don't know, Jake Kemp and Dan, Bob Sturm and Dan. Why can't I think of Dan's last name? McDowell. Why am I totally blocking on Dan McDowell? He's like one of my favorites.
Dan's, okay? It's okay.
So Dan McDowell and Jake Kemp, they created, after Reiner left, they broke up Bad Radio, which was their longtime number one midday show, which was Bob Sturm and Dan McDowell. And they took Dan McDowell off that show and gave him a new midday show with a new partner, a young gun, a very funny, very talented, very quick-witted dude by the name of Jack Kemp, who's like 25 years younger. Or I think it's Jake. Yeah, it's Jake, not Jack, but his Twitter handle is not Jack Kemp. So they didn't miss a step. They put together this new show, The Hang Zone, and it crushed. It was great. It was great from the get-go. It was great from the get-go because it was a personality Dan McDowell, the station already loved, and he wasn't changing his time slot. Bad Radio was gone, but Hang Zone was there, and Dan was still there, so, you had consistency. Jake stepped in and turned it into a whole different thing. Now, I don't know if you're very familiar with the show, The Hang Zone, but it's great. It's a great show. It is absolutely a great show by every measure. So The Hang Zone has left the Ticket, which is strange because shows don't leave the Ticket. James, you want to explain why that might be?
Yeah, so I have theories, and I don't know which one is correct, so I'm talking out my butt. Is that okay? Because do you know what the real answer is, and you're just asking me to get it wrong so you can make fun of me?
No.
Right.
Between the two of us, we've probably got 50 years of major market radio experience. We've been in contract arguments and standoffs. So we understand the lay of the land. Yeah,
radio as a whole has been in contraction since the 2000s, something or others, and Cumulus is feeling
since the iPhone. That's where I would put it.
Kinda, right? That's a good point.
Since the introduction of the iPhone, radio.
All right, and Cumulus, the company that owns that and so many other radio stations in the Dallas area, is been doing what the other ones have been doing, piling up debt. They went through bankruptcy, I guess, 5 years ago, and they've restructured out of that, and they're still piling on debt, and their revenue, their EBITDA or whatever, can't keep up with their debt service. So now what we're dealing with is sort of a zombie company that is just shedding in all these other markets, just dropping people left and right and consolidating. And what I've heard from other people who work for Cumulus during contract time, the very insulting thing has come up where they offer you a new contract that's less than your previous contract.
Yeah, it's normal.
And so if you ask me, like, if I have to go to the roulette table and put my chips on one of the excuses, this would be one of them, but I can already think of 4 other ones.
Well, okay, so long story short, but let's go back a little bit. So there was a time in radio, in my earliest days in radio, my first 1992, 93, 94, the early days of radio. It was a completely different industry because there were limitations on ownership. You couldn't own more than, 1 or 2. I don't remember what the numbers were, but you couldn't.
2, wasn't it?
Yeah, you couldn't own more than 2 radio stations in the same market. Couldn't own 2 radio stations and a TV station. You couldn't own a newspaper, a TV station, and a radio. There were limitations on what you as a media operator could do. And what you had during this era, which was like the first 100 years of radio, what you had was thriving local economies that were based on these competing radio operators who were putting out great product and trying to win. Now, what happened was deregulation happened. That was a thing where they threw out all those rules and they said, hey, if you want to own every radio station, you can. And that's where you had the behemoths arrive, the Clear Channels, the Cumuluses, the Odysseys, which used to be CBS Radio or Entercom before that. So essentially what has happened is radio has been in a slow decline since it stopped competing with itself. I mean, in this town alone, you had the Eagle and the Edge right next to each other. The Eagle and the Edge were certainly competing for the same mail, but they didn't fight because they were the same company. So they didn't care to win. You know what I mean? There wasn't a competition because the guy at the top, whoever owned Cumulus or Clear Channel, was like, I'm fine with it. Whoever wins, it doesn't matter. But back when it was 2 guys, like when it was just like a guy who owned like 5 Toyota dealerships versus a guy who owned 20 restaurants, right? The guy who owns 20 restaurants owns 2 radio stations. The guy who owns 5 cars. Those guys went to war. And the end result was competitive entertainment. There are no wars. There's no fights. There's 3 channels. There's Cumulus, there's Odyssey, and there's Clear Channel. And you're right. In iHeart. Yeah. What did I call it? Clear Channel? iHeart. Yeah. So old I am. So just again, long story short, we'll wrap it up right here. But what has happened was these companies, these mega companies, these behemoths, these operators have incurred so much debt because they want to own 700 radio stations. And they don't need 700 radio stations, but they're just going to keep gobbling up small regional operators until, there's nothing left. That's what happened. They grew too big and had no plan for how to, how is your New York station that might be doing great going to carry 80 stations in, Alabama, Arizona, and whatever that are dogging it? They're not. The math doesn't work. So that's what's happened. Greed and the accumulation and a lack of competition is why we're at a situation, and this is what I believe is happening with Dan and Jake. Dan and Jake signed a deal maybe 2-3 years ago, whatever their contract was. They signed a deal. They did everything that was expected of them and more. They didn't just win, they dominated. They didn't just maintain their audience, they grew their audience consistently. And when they came time to negotiate for the contract, they said, thank you for doing everything. We're paying you half. My friend, Dan McNeil, went through that. Dan McNeil, we talked to Dan on mansplaining. Do you remember Schwartz? I don't know if you remember. We talked to him. I don't remember what the subject was exactly, but we talked to Dan. Dan McNeil was making $2.5 million a year just in the radio thing. He also had TV gigs and he had all kinds of shit. He was making $2.5 million a year. I think that's what was reported, right? I don't, he's someone I consider a friend, but I wouldn't. $2.5 million a year. He dominated. He was number 1. His new contract was up. He was going to re-sign it, and they said, we'll give you $300,000. That's what's happening in radio. That's the kind of situation that I think Dan McDowell, who is a millionaire, Dan McDowell's a millionaire. He's made huge radio paychecks for 20 years. Jake's not. Jake's probably the deal. Well, I don't want to say they probably really lowballed McDowell and then lowballed Jake, right? Probably like 15 grand less than Jake was making, but maybe like 400 grand less than Dan was making. So I think that's what's going on. And it's not that Cumulus are dicks. This is the new economy. You can't, I mean, look, if Mary Berner, who runs Cumulus, wants to have her private jet and her yachts, you can't pay DJs $1 million a year anymore, especially now that there's a third of the people listening. And that's what's going on. The audience has shrunk. The ad dollars ain't there. And people are being confronted with the fact that we're going to pay you half, even though you over exceeded our expectations on the last contract.
All right. You want to hear my second most likely scenario?
Yeah.
This isn't as cynical, but it's also not as probable, is the fact that they're going somewhere else. And so they have to say goodbye. They may have to sit out a non-compete, or they may just have something worked out to where they're going to take a little bit of time off and then pop up on another station. Maybe that's kind of half their intent, but they don't have a landing pad already set. But there is a chance that maybe they are just going to show up at the Freak next week, or maybe they are just going to show up on some other station. Maybe, I don't know, they could make a move like WBAP or something.
Well, I think the Freak would be obvious. I think that's an obvious landing spot for them. The Freak needs another show. The Freak only has 3 shows, and they're 3 great shows, and I'm a fan of all of them. But James, I think you and I agree that 3 hours is the template for a talk show. You do more than 3 hours, and you're on gas fumes.
Well, you degrade the product a little bit. But if it's multiple people on a show, you should be able to do 4 decent hours every day. You would just prefer to have it 3 hours, no matter what your crew is or your background is or what your format is. You would definitely prefer 3 to 4 hours.
So that's what they've needed. I mean, just me as like a junior programmer, as a guy who played a consulting sort of bit for about 18 months there. I mean, my job was I would go down to other radio stations and I'd say, here's what you're doing. It's the whole bullshit thing. And it was total bullshit. Anyway, consultants, total bullshit game, except for Lee Abrams, who is truly.
Except for this one consultant that I like.
Well, no, he's I lost my train of thought. I forgot what I was talking about. Anyway, the Freak, yeah. So they need another show. So they 6 to 6 is the only time that matters. Radio stations do not give a shit about 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. They don't give a shit. They would, if they had their druthers, they just turn it down. Screw you people. 6 to 6, 6 a.m., 6 p.m. is all they care about. You need 4 shows for those 12. You need 4 3-hour shows. Currently, that station has 3 4-hour shows. And, so this makes sense. And you say, well, they'll be back. Yeah, they'll be back. Yeah, you're damn right they'll be back. I mean, there are stations in this town that are probably thinking about firing their morning shows to get these guys in there. I mean, could you imagine? I don't know what.
Who has the budget?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's probably not going to be Cumulus. I think we can rule out all Cumulus stations.
Odyssey's even closer to bankruptcy than Cumulus is right now.
Yeah, but you know what?
They did the reverse stock split.
How big would a hang zone moving to 105.3 The Fan be? And those are 2 completely different sports cultures. Those are 2 completely different styles of sports talk radio. And there are 3 styles of sports talk radio. We have 2 of them here. We have the kind that 105.3 does, which is very professorial, which is, experts and ESPN or whatever, CBS, all of these big names.
The win percentage or something.
Right. They're professors. Then you have the preachers, the guys who are just fans. And that's what the ticket is. The ticket is just guys who are fans who are going to give you hot takes about what they think. And half the time it's nonsense because they're idiots just like you and me. The fan, they're a different kind of animal. We're going to give you the real news, and you're going to quote tonight when you're drinking with your buddies what you hear here, because we're giving, those are 2 different kinds. I don't know that I don't know that Hang Zone would fit. I don't know with the kind of radio that they've been doing over there at 105.3, but that's certainly a place they can go. Freaking 105.3 would be the obvious ones for me.
Schwartz, anything?
He wants to know who these guys are.
I was told I was coming on to talk about who has bigger breasts.
Well,
I didn't realize I was going to have to be bluffing on a subject I don't know about.
Well, should we watch the video? Should we tonight? By the way, an incredible. I've never seen this with local radio. Dan and Jake, The Ticket, and even Corby has now been trending for 3 days on Twitter. 3 days. Local radio upheaval is trending on Twitter for 3 straight days. Go to Twitter right now. You'll see Dan and Jake. You'll see The Ticket. You'll probably see Corby. It's insane how much interest and actually how important. Now, I don't fool myself. I don't think that many of these posts are coming from New Jersey, but it shows you just how fanatical The Ticket fan base is. They have been talking nonstop about this to the point that it's trending nationally. That's crazy. That's big. Should we play it? Should we listen to them? They finally, after being off the air since Monday, I think, or actually before that, they sat down, made a YouTube video explaining it. Do you want to watch it?
Oh my God, yes. Come on.
Were they taken off the air with like no notice?
No, they'll explain it here. They explain how that all went down. So here, let's. This was tweeted from Dan McDowell, bracket Dan.
Oh yeah, trending right between The Ticket and Corby is herpes. Herpes is also trending.
Cool. There's a place for everything in this world, James.
Yikes.
All right, here we go. We're gonna make this big. All right. I'm going to go get a refill on my drink because I've already watched this, but I will be right back and enjoy.
I'm Dan McDowell.
Hello, I'm Jake Kemp. Dan's my good friend here.
The chemistry that we've built up for many years.
Wow.
And we are very, narcissistic?
Yeah, very arrogant.
To think that people
self-centered.
want to hear from us. And so here we are, us, on a video stream on our seldom updated YouTube page. The last update, probably over a year.
What about this?
Are you just saying that?
Like if I kind of came down, is that because of...
Jake looks much taller than me. He's not that much taller than me in real life. But also, I'm just used to hanging, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm like a chill guy.
Yeah.
We are reacting to the whole news. There's news. This is news.
News.
This is the news.
Yeah.
The news, of course, that Dan and Jake no longer work at The Ticket, and that is correct. And has been correct, actually, for... What day is it? Is it 19 days?
I don't know. Can you see the calendar on your little baby phone?
It's a
phone.
large phone. Let me take a look here.
Lose it under a nail? It's been a while.
I wanted to start this differently. I wanted to be like, hey, Jake, anything going on? Because a lot's going on. Yeah. That's the whole humor. But I did want to open up the old Twitter there, and let's just kind of go to the...
Dude, Dan is super stoked on the idea that we've been trending.
Who's trending for the... Oh, we're trending. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, just doing a little
funny.
trending.
I went and I paid my mortgage this morning with my trend check.
Oh, I didn't get my trending check yet.
It'll come tomorrow.
Okay.
No, it's...
I mean, the USPS. You can't count on it these days.
Busted up.
But,
I heard they're holding out.
Is that right?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. The point is,
yeah, what's up with Zach Martin, bro?
Just go back to work, you slouch.
You know what? I do want to address that.
Okay.
A little bit. Because many headlines, I mean so many, are writing about us. Because we're so important. Trending.
Shut the f... Can we curse?
Yeah. We probably can.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean... But for all our 8-year-old viewers...
I was more thinking about, like, if the morning news uses this and I do the 9/11 joke series that I've been doing with you, like, maybe they're like, we can't put that in the article.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the morning news could... Anyway, a lot of headlines are like, Dan and Jake resigned from The Ticket.
All right, here we go.
Which is technically true, not true. The only thing is, our contracts were expired. We were trying to come to an agreement. We believed, in our opinion, the offer from Cumulus was not something we wanted to take. Cumulus believed that they were not willing to offer more. I believe that's right at the end, right?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
And they said, then please resign. And so then we did. But it also felt weird just that we were writing the email just because the contract was actually up previously.
Yeah, for a while.
We worked a week past our contract actually into the end of June. And yeah, so as of July 1st, I think we were not working there at all.
All right, James, so far, any thoughts on this, on what you're hearing here?
Sounds like they were offered a pay cut.
Sounds like they were offered a big pay cut. That's just based on what I know about what salaries are these days. Schwartz, are you seeing anything? Any questions?
Well, it sounds to me like, look, obviously I only dabble a little bit peripherally in radio, right? Yes. Not like you guys, but from my limited experience and having, for a little while, a weekend show, and obviously going back to you guys with Pugs and Kelly, just from an outsider's perspective, it sure seems to me like the people who run radio stations, the business end of radio, seem to have very little appreciation for the talent that makes the radio, that makes the content and delivers it, which is what the fans connect with, which is what creates the product, which is what creates the success in the first place.
Let me tell you something that's very interesting about what you just said there, because you're absolutely right. I mean, from the reality is they have zero respect for what they all think. First of all, half the programmers are just failed hosts themselves who think that if they had just gotten the break, they could do it. Yeah, if that, exactly. But that's what a lot of programmers are, guys that wanted to do the show, but then they bailed and they took the safe route and whatever. And now they're miserable because they're not actually doing what they love to do. But what you said about upper management, not just PDs, but I'm talking about top sales management. We're talking about marketing dudes. We're talking about VPs of everything from programming to whatever, the upper management. Those people do have very little respect for talent, unless they're in public with the talent. This is something that I have experienced a million times. There is nothing the general manager of a radio station likes more than to be hanging out with the top morning show guy in town and at the bar, and everybody's laughing, and oh, he's got cool friends, and oh my God, look at this. It's a Dallas Cowboy coming up because my host is friends with a Dallas Cowboy. They love that. They love all the glamour and all the fringe benefits that they get we talked about the issues at 105.3. I mean, just the way Gavin Spittle was with the Russ Martin show. You know what I mean? It was like, he just loved it all. It was really good. And then you come and negotiate with them, and they're like, oh, yeah, we're not going to pay you anything anymore. You're not, so. Well,
they basically give you the message that you could easily be interchanged with anyone else who would do the same thing.
Yeah, of course. But that's the game. Right? Isn't that the game? I mean, isn't that what we think of them, James?
No, but they're not using that. I don't think they're using that as a negotiating tactic. I think they really believe that.
I don't
like your individual thoughts and personality and whatever you bring to that creates this content. Anyone could do that.
Here's the problem with the hang zone. Those guys, James, you got this right. They worked a week out of contract, which is so rare. Most stations won't let you do that. Schwartz, you said that, it's not even a negotiating tactic. Well, that suggests that management in the current age of contract negotiations and renegotiations are negotiating. They're not negotiating. There is no money. When they say they let Hang Zone walk away because Cumulus Atlanta said, no, there's no money. We're not giving you any money. So you can hate Kat all you want. You can hate Dan Bennett all you want. Those are two people who I happen to know, and I know that they're both good people. They didn't want the Hang Zone to leave. They didn't want to have to break. They didn't want Reiner to leave. All of this stuff. But there are forces, and this goes back to what we talked about earlier about how radio is not run at the local level anymore. There are people who don't give a fuck, excuse my language, about the ticket, who are calling all the shots.
Well, that's the situation going on in a lot of business in this country, right? Because so much of business has become big business, and by big business, it's really the business of finance. It's about buying radio stations, about buying and rolling up a bunch of radio stations together and then selling them to a bigger sucker and making the money in that. It has nothing about what the business is truly about, which is creating a product and serving customers and making people happy and then wanting to spend their money on that. every business ultimately grows to a point where it gets bad. It just does.
Radio general managers used to come from radio. They used to be guys who killed it in the sales department or guys that were programming 5 #1 stations. That's where radio general managers used to come from. They come from Wall Street now. Radio general managers are debt specialists, and that's what they're here for. They're not here to find the next great morning show. They're not here to develop a 6 to 6 talent lineup that'll blow the doors off the Nielsen. No. They are here to manage this dying pig whale, James.
Well, I'm not saying the management of the big three has done a great job, as much that I'd say what compounds their mistakes is the fact that this is a contracting industry. For every one of the billion people that watch Baby Shark or, Gangnam Style, 20 years ago, all of that went to radio. All of those views or all of the listening that goes now to Joe Rogan's podcast or whatever else is being streamed through every podcast, that used to all go to radio. And
there was never, James, let me interrupt you. There was never such a thing as a parody song that didn't originate on the radio. Now all parody shit is viral. It's all YouTube videos or TikToks or whatever.
Right. So there was a point, I think it was around 2008 or 2009, where the advertising revenue on all the radio stations across the entire country peaked and started a very slow decline. Now, it doesn't have to plummet by a half in order to wreck stations, but when you have set your business model up for 3 to 4% growth every year, just because that's what we've been doing since 1922, and then when that stops and goes the other direction, you now do not have the ability to keep up with your debt load, service your own debt. And so now you're a zombie company that exists only to pay the bondholders, and screw the shareholders. They're going to get hosed anyway. You just don't want to piss off the bondholders, because when we go to bankruptcy again, they're going to be your new boss.
You said so. Zombie stations. That's a phrase that I've now heard a couple of times. There are maybe 30 radio stations in this market. There are 5 actual stations in this market. There are 25 zombie stations. There are stations that have been operating in Dallas-Fort Worth for 30 years that you've never listened to. They're just out there existing. They're not. Well, let's go back to it. You want to listen to a little bit more? Let's
love to. I didn't even know this existed until just now.
So I don't know how that's going to work in the long run as far as stuff, legal stuff, but yeah, we haven't really been working there. We didn't resign. They didn't fire us. We just both said we're not at a resolution. And at least personally, I am not pissed. I'm not mad at Cumulus. I'm not like, oh, the big company. Like, it's fine. That's their thing, their evaluation of the, situation, and our evaluation, of the situation is that we felt like it's fine to move on. They felt like it's fine to move on from us, and here.
See, now this to me, guys, this to me sounds like a negotiation. It sounds like they're still negotiating through this video. They are basically saying, we weren't fired. We didn't resign. We just have an unresolved contract. They're talking about what their next move is and all those things, which would be natural if you were in this situation. But it doesn't sound to me like it's necessarily over between them and the ticket, James.
It's not necessarily over, because that's exactly what they're doing. It's kind of like, well, we're not boyfriend and girlfriend, but if you want to float me a text at 11 on a Saturday, I'd just certainly respond to it.
Right.
And so, you could go out there and you could be like, man, those bitches, just like the girl. But you don't want to burn that bridge. Maybe it's not working out perfectly right now, but there clearly is no animus that they want to publicly put out there. But that doesn't mean there's no real animus that they're hiding behind, their clever little showbiz mask.
Schwartz, what do you think of that little exchange there between the two of them? Are they negotiating? Do you think in their hearts they're gone, or do you think they still think there's a chance they'll be back?
Well, I think they're negotiating with someone, whether they're negotiating with Cumulus or not, or they're negotiating with someone else. They certainly want whoever they're negotiating with to think that they have lots of options on the table.
All right, let's go back. Let's listen to a little bit more of this. This is Dan and Jake, the Hang Zone. This is being titled "Their Ticket Goodbye."
Here we are.
Yeah, I think we should probably be pretty clear about that. Is like, we're not trying to do some sort of like, because I mean, obviously we know like the response on social media the like is like F the company and this person or that person. We don't feel that way. Like, that's not what it's about. So I think that's important. I don't know how much it's really going to matter in the end, that we just...
Yeah, so this has happened before where it's like, hey, don't piss off my bosses. I'm literally negotiating with them right now, and you calling my program director a fat libtard is not helping. Like he's a little overweight, and so what if if he's a little bit on the left? You're not helping. You think you're helping. You're angry, and I appreciate the fact that you even care enough to make a social media post. But shut up.
Well, actually, they probably are helping by saying that, but these guys can't be acknowledging that is actually helping.
All right, let's go back. Here's more. Dan and Jake, Hang Zone Go ticket.
Don't really feel that way. I think the main thing is, what if we just want to try to do something different? I'm going to try really hard not to cry. But, we're very close, he and I, at this point. And even though he's got a little baby phone, I
don't know which camera's on, so yeah.
I feel like, just if we want to try to do something a little bit different, I'd rather do it with him than anyone else. So, that's kind of just...
They're united as a team.
We've both basically only worked one place in our most...
I can tell you from my experience, there was probably a moment where one of them was strafed away from the other and an offer was made. Like, I'm sure that they were like, Jake, we might not be able to afford Dan anymore, but I'm sure they seem like they're pretty united. Like, they've talked to each other about that. They're going to come to you. They're going to try and split us apart. It's going to be the first thing they're going to do in order to save the show. They're going to try and pit us against each other. That's what it sounds like they're putting a stop to right here. James?
Man, I don't know if I believe that. I think they thought maybe that was going to happen, so they had that conversation, but I'm not sure if it necessarily happened. And this is a weird dynamic because for Jake, Dan is the guy that just took him up to the top of because there's tiers.
Yeah.
And
Jake was an intern when Dan was already making $1 million a year.
Yeah, and so he took him to the top tier. Even though he's not making top tier money, he's getting top tier exposure. And if you stay up there long enough, you will be a top tier money guy eventually. And so if he could keep this ship going, he would be where Dan is right now over the same or a similar period of time. But for Dan, he may feel loyalty, but this is Dan's 15th radio partner, I'm sure.
No, it's only second.
Well, Dan has had a career where he only was with Bob, and that's it.
He came here in 1998, and he was paired with Bob. And before
before that,
before I believe he was in Toledo, and he was a solo.
All right.
No, he's only had one other partner. So yeah, it's not like he's had 15. All right, let's go back to it. Let's listen to more of this.
Of our adult lives, and maybe we just want to kind of try to see if we can do something different together. So obviously, if the negotiations...
New frontier.
That's right. Star Wars, bro. Blow me up.
Is that what it is? No, that's...
I know.
All right.
That was a joke. We've been off the air for a while, so we're not...
That's the kind of awesome humor you can get with. Where were you?
Obviously, if negotiations might have gone a little bit differently, then you can be maybe talked out of. I would like to try something different, but they didn't go differently. So, to me, I think we just kind of ended up at a place where let's try something different. Let's just see what else we can try.
What did the 90-year-old say? Or what's her name? Joy?
The N-word?
No. Oh. Everything's cool.
Oh, sorry.
I feel like everything's cool.
I was just assuming what most 90-year-olds say.
I don't know. I'm not mad.
You could probably cut that out.
Well, you've been at dinner with grandparents
sure,
for sure,
yeah.
and it's been a while for me. But
the store.
Anywhere.
But yeah, no, I think.
Wait, I can't remember.
Everything's cool. You were going back to.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not fired up. I know there's a lot of emotions that are running high. There have been when we're talking to our best friends. I don't have friends. So I just call my coworkers friends, and they acquiesce to that. They seem like they do stuff for me if I ever asked them to. But they are my best friends. You work with the same guys for 24 years. And also, if you work somewhere for 24 years, maybe it's cool to try to dip your toe elsewhere, see what else there is out there.
That's one way of looking at it.
And maybe some of you
don't do
will come along for the ride. Well, because I don't know what our future is, right? Could we?
No, I was more saying
podcast?
You're doing the televangelist thing.
Oh, I want to look at you. I'm talking
this
to you.
phone number right here.
All right, now they don't really. That's pretty much the meat of everything that they say. They sort of do their little back and forth, and they talk about a few things. But that's basically. You can find that on YouTube. Bob and Dan. I keep calling them Bob and Dan.
Well, you should.
Dan and Jake Ticket Goodbye on YouTube. James.
Boy, they are awkward and nervous and uncomfortable, and they really don't know what's going on. And so I throw that whole option of they're just sitting out a non-compete and they're going to pop up somewhere else. They don't have somewhere else. They don't have a plan B. They're floating, man. They are not too sure about what's next is what I got out of that.
I don't know. Here's what I think is probably happening. And crazy enough, I've been in this exact same situation. What they're probably starting to learn is that the offer that was made by Cumulus to keep them is probably the best offer that is out there. And that's just simply because of what we talked about, the economics of any radio station would be happy to have them, but not at 2005 prices.
Yeah, but wouldn't they be, with their contract coming to an end, wouldn't they be feeling out what else is out there months or even a year in advance?
Well, no, you can't.
Leading into this, or no?
Yeah, you can't do that. There's a window where you can do that, and that is different based on whatever your arrangement is with the company. But no, they can't
can't be fielding other offers before their contract expires.
No, Kelly and I got in trouble for that. We were being wooed by Jeremy Coleman, and he was a big programmer in New York, and our contract was coming up here in Dallas, and so they took us to New York, and this was set up by Opie and Anthony, who wanted to work with us in New York, and we were under contract, and this was highly illegal. And our program director here in town in Dallas found out that we had spent the weekend in New York with this other guy who was in the same company at the time. I mean, this was New York City's. No, it's not. He was formerly with CBS, but he had jumped to Sirius at this point. So the program director here in town knew him because they were program directors in the same company. And oh my God, it was awful.
Wait, you can't talk to anyone else?
Nope. The program
that's in your contract.
No, it's
like football players.
Yeah, it's collusion, or not collusion, but tampering. The other guy that offered us a job when he knew that we were negotiating with the station here was tampering. He was tampering with a good faith process, which is the contract renegotiation. That's how it was explained to me. So the program director here calls the program director in New York, calls Jeremy Coleman in New York, and goes off on him. Then we get a call from Jeremy Coleman. Deal is off. Sorry, I asked you not to say anything. And Kelly said something. All right, I'm just going to put it out there. Kelly couldn't keep her mouth shut. Kelly blew the deal. She mentioned it to our program director, and I never got to live my dream of working in New York City. But I've forgiven her. But yeah, so you can't tamper. But they can now though. I mean, they're out of contract. They're not on the air. They can negotiate. I'm
just amazed that when you're just because you're under contract somewhere and your contract's coming to an end, that you can't look at other offers until that contract expires.
Bro, that's a rule that gets broken constantly.
I would think so, because how are you supposed to?
Even if there's no direct talks,
right.
People at the other station, and hey, you renewed? Would you renew? If you don't mind me asking, and sometimes they'll tell you, sometimes they'll just give you an up or a down, or there's all kinds of way to get info and get information back and forth. But these guys got nothing.
Michael says, Pugs, how long are radio contracts usually? That depends. That entirely depends. I mean, I've had as big as 4-year contracts, and I've had as small as 1-year contracts. So the longest I've heard of was a 10-year contract, but that was 20 years ago in Chicago.
They're usually 2, Michael. That's the boilerplate contract is 2. 2
would be the normal. Also, let's go to and when do negotiations begin? 90 days? Is it 90 days? I believe that's when the standard is. Here.
Oh, Jeff raises a good question. Wants to know who needs to be greased to get mansplaining back on the air.
Yeah, well, yeah. There you go.
Let me know.
Yeah, let us all know. There's no reason that show shouldn't still be on the air.
Because you talk about. I mean, it's the same thing, right? It's just you basically created the concept for that show. You put it right in their lap. It's not like this wasn't a multi-million-dollar investment for anyone to do that show.
I wanted to put
and
this.
We built that show up with no promotion whatsoever.
No, nothing whatsoever. It was a great show. It was a great show. I hate most of the stuff that I do. I do not hate that. If I don't believe it's done. It's a weekend show. We'll see. What was I saying? I wanted to address Cody here. Cody says, Dan and Jake are always awkward. It's part of what makes their show great. This video is no different from their show. That is in response to Barney, who is saying, these guys suck. These guys, which is I love Barney, but that is such an unfair evaluation. Barney has obviously never listened to him. The greatness of our favorite talk hosts is that we probably didn't like them the first 2 weeks or whatever, but they grow on you and you start to get the vibe and the energy. I think that Dan, now you're right. Yes, they're awkward but they are very good together. The awkwardness, the way they make it work. It's a terrific show, man.
Cody might be talking to me because I refer to them as awkward, but there's also sort of a discomfort that I probably haven't listened to their show as much as you have, Cody, but it seems like, there's sort of a timidity. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
They just seem a little shaky. And
well, they got to watch everything they say. Viral is forever. So they were it's a landmine doing this. They had to do it because they've been trending on Twitter for 3 days in a row. So they saw an opportunity. There's an audience. Why not get their side out? And they did this. They still got to be careful. Mike says, should other ticket hosts be concerned for their own jobs? No. Other ticket hosts should be concerned about the pay cut they're going to get when their next contract comes up, but nobody's going to get fired.
But also, I think everyone at the ticket just got the message. You're going to take the pay cut or we will let you walk the plank.
James, that's it. That's exactly what this is. If they have to go through this with this show in order to make sure that, the Musers or Gordon, my God. The morning show, those guys make big contracts. Gordon makes a huge, Gordon is a third. Gordon's probably the highest paid third in radio history. Yeah, thirds don't make the same as the other two guys. And, that's a situation where the third does. All right. So predictions, James, what do you think? My prediction is, as it always has been, I think they're going to end up at the Freak. I think that's the most obvious thing. I think that's where they belong.
I don't. I think they would love to end up at the Freak, but I don't necessarily see them crawling back to the ticket either. I don't know. Sorry, it's not like a dodge. I really don't know. Yeah. I think they might just be gone, and they're not going to come back to either one.
Chuck Nelson, this is good. I like this. Chuck says, hurry up and finish Who Killed 105.3 so you can start Who Killed 13. Yeah, I'll get on that. I'll get right on that. Yeah. But you know what it's time for now, boys? Let's do this thing. It's everybody's favorite part of every edition of Radio Misfits. We do it each and every night here. We call it Whose is Bigger? It's a game. Why isn't this playing? Oh, jeez. Oh, my God. I'm having so many problems. All right, here we go. So awkward. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Whose is Bigger? The nightly game show here on the Radio Misfits, where we just ask us. Everything is going fritzy. where we just ask a simple question. Gentlemen, whose is bigger? Now, different categories abound each and every night. It could be whose nose is bigger. It could be whose net worth is bigger. Hell, we've done whose alimony payments are the biggest. Tonight, we brought on our special guest, Dr. Robert Schwartz. And, hold on a second. How do I get rid of this? Oh, man. Here we go. We brought on Dr. Robert Schwartz, RS Plastic, Dallas's premier boob craftsman. Been in business since, the late 1960s, right?
Late 1860s.
Yeah. You were using paper mache back then, I believe.
Yeah.
Leeches.
the paper mache implant era. Very, very troubling. Dr. Schwartz has been brought on because today's category of whose is bigger is bra sizes. That's right. I will be giving you two internationally known mega celebrities, and I will ask you, whose bra size is bigger? Gentlemen, are you ready to play whose is bigger?
Wait, are there prizes? How does this work?
Just say yeah, and then we move on.
I'm ready. Fine.
Prizes. All right, gentlemen. Oh, and by the way, James, you just a garden variety perp. You like boobs, you like girls. You're going to go up against an expert here. So you're probably the underdog, but, I think you got a fighting chance. All right, whose is bigger? Category of Olivia's. Whose is bigger? And we're talking about bra size. Olivia Munn or Olivia Wilde? Gentlemen, whose is bigger? Dr. Robert Schwartz?
Okay, I have a problem here. Because I haven't paid attention to who celebrities are since 2 Tonight Show hosts ago. I thought I would get photos here. Okay, I'm going to go with Olivia Munn based on name only.
I'll give you photos.
All right, give me photos.
All right, hold on.
All right.
All right. There you go. I got to give you a boob photo. Right? I got to find it.
Be a face. It could just be a face.
Oh, this is a good boob photo. Here you go. All right, Olivia Munn. Asking whose is big.
Share the stab instead.
See, James knows who these people are.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Sort of.
All right, there's Olivia Munn.
Okay. Yeah.
Whose is bigger? We're going Olivia Munn. I can't. There's no way I can give you pictures for all of these people.
Well, that's going to make it more challenging.
Okay, let me see.
Okay, Olivia Munn, I see. I'm going to go no based on just this one photo.
Right.
Not going to be her.
That's fine. And here now is contestant number 2, Olivia Wilde. Whose is bigger, Munn or Wilde?
Oh. Yeah, I'm going to go with Wilde.
Going with Wilde. James Parker, whose is bigger, bra size, Olivia Munn or Olivia Wilde?
Give me Munn.
And James would be right. Olivia Munn, 34B. Olivia Wilde, 32B. Point goes to James.
That's the same cup size, though.
Doesn't matter. It's different, bigger brides. It's a bigger number. What?
That's the diameter of her chest, though.
It's a bigger bra.
You didn't ask me about her chest diameter.
Yeah, we're talking about whose bra is bigger is the question.
You brought me on as an expert.
Gentlemen.
Apparently you're not.
Whose is bigger? The delightful Kristen Bell or the equally delightful Mila Kunis?
Oh my God, neither one. Neither. Why are you even doing this one? Why? See, I thought
I'm taking
nuts.
I'm taking Mila Kunis.
Mila Kunis.
Yeah, it's got to be Mila Kunis because Kristen Bell is. I don't want to be mean because I like her, but Kristen Bell's Kristen Bell. She's not blowing us away. Hang on.
Kristen Bell is a smoke show. What are you talking about?
I'm not saying she's ugly.
No, you better not be.
But she can go on a trampoline without a bra.
All right. So who did you go with? Who's this?
I went with Mila Kunis.
Yeah,
Mila Kunis. All right. Well, you're both wrong.
How can we both be wrong?
Because it's a tie. They're both 32B. They're exactly the same. Oh, I should have told you.
Let's get photos up side by side. There's no way.
That's enough. Dude, I am not going to do Photoshop for this bit. All right. I already put it together individually. It took me an hour and a half to do this one today. Do you know how hard it is to Google endless celebrities' bra sizes? Half of them aren't even listed.
Mila Kunis isn't killing it either. Here, I'll pop it up real quick if you want to.
Yeah, but I'm saying if we did like MRIs of their breasts and measured absolute breast volume, there's no way this is even close.
Yeah, we need this in like cc's or maybe milliliters.
Shut up, all of you.
As an expert, what would be the more accurate?
Don't make me do calculus here, because I will.
Right.
Gentlemen,
spin a differential.
Gentlemen, whose is bigger, Sofia Vergara or Jennifer Lopez?
Oh, Sofia Vergara.
Talking about cup size. Whose is bigger, Sofia Vergara from Modern Family or Jennifer Lopez from Life?
Now, I am leaning Sofia Vergara as well, but he said it a lot quicker than I would.
He gave it no consideration. He's,
none. And see, like,
nor will I.
Dude, I admire that level of.
All right, I'm gonna need an answer, gentlemen. Sofia Vergara or Jennifer Lopez?
I'm going Sofia Vergara too, but I'm not as sure as he is.
Sofia Vergara is your winner. She is 36 double D. Jennifer Lopez, a sad little 34B. Sad. Gentlemen, whose is bigger? Let's enter into the world of pop stars, shall we?
Oh, I'm not gonna know who this is.
Whose is big? Yeah, you will. Whose is bigger, Beyonce or Katy Perry?
Katy Perry.
Ooh, Katy Perry.
Katy Perry is correct. Katy Perry, 32 single D. Beyonce, 36C. Gentlemen, let's do a couple of gals with one names, shall we? Whose is bigger, Rihanna or Zendaya? Rihanna or Zendaya?
Rihanna.
Rihanna.
Rihanna is right. Rihanna is 34B.
Yeah, I think it's way bigger.
Zendaya is 32B. So
Schwartz
is going to be like cup size. And no, we're talking about the size of the bra. It's a bigger number. Bigger number, bigger letter. Stop it. All right, gentlemen.
How would you work it though if the number was higher but the cup size was smaller on someone?
That's not a problem.
Is it like, are we going to multiply? What are we doing here?
That is not an issue that I confronted in putting this game together, Schwartz. So not a problem.
I would be interested in doing the laser scan and finding the actual C.
Yeah, I would.
Gentlemen.
It would make this game a lot better.
This game is great. Gentlemen, couple of best friends here. Couple of best friends. Oh, wait. Did we already do her? Oh, no. Wait. I think we can't do Salma Hayek twice, right? Didn't we do Salma Hayek?
We didn't do Salma Hayek.
Oh, no. We did Sofia Vergara. That's right. Those two I kind of in my.
All right. Salma Hayek. I don't care who you name.
Salma Hayek or her best friend?
I don't need the second choice. It's Salma Hayek.
Penelope Cruz. James?
Salma Hayek.
No.
What? I don't even. Yeah, Salma Hayek, dude. Penelope Cruz, isn't she kind of a board of gypsum anyway?
Yeah, it's definitely Salma Hayek. 36C, Penelope Cruz, 32C. Although Schwartz would say they're the same.
No, I didn't say that's the same.
No way.
I said it can be misleading.
All right.
No way Salma Hayek's only
Yeah, and they're not the same cup size, and Salma Hayek is not a C cup.
No way. There's zero chance she's a C. And what is she, 4'11"?
Says here she's 36C. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring out some big guns. Some big guns from the days of Maxim. A couple of supermodels. Gentlemen, whose is bigger? Kate Upton or Brooklyn Decker? Do we need pictures? We might need pictures.
I don't know who Brooklyn Decker is.
All right.
You know who Kate Upton is?
Yeah. And I'm leaning that way.
Hold on. Brooklyn.
Okay. I'll take care of Kate just for fun.
All right, here's Brooklyn Decker. These are not good pictures. Never mind. We're not going to show you Brooklyn Decker. Just make a pick. Let's go. Make up. Oh, here, Kate.
Wait, that's not Brooklyn Decker?
That's Kate Upton right there.
It's Kate Upton, right?
That's Kate Upton. I'm going to go with Kate Upton.
Let's go with her. James, who are you going with?
Well, I could throw up a Brooklyn Decker if you want, but I'm going to go
Kate Upton. You'd be wrong. Let's not have you be wrong. Brooklyn Kate Upton, 34 double D. Oh, no, wait a second. Brooklyn Decker, it says she's 36 double D. Brooklyn Decker is the winner. Brooklyn Decker. Gentlemen.
That seems like a good place to end.
My answer was rushed there.
No.
Oh, there's more?
We've got big ones. Gentlemen, also from the world of pop.
Hang on. Brooklyn Decker, just for people who, just for science purposes. There you go.
Yeah, there she is. She's a little bit bigger than Kate.
I'm not sure I agree with your assessment here.
It's not my assessment. It's Google. Gentlemen, whose is bigger? Category of bra sizes. Taylor Swift.
Oh.
Ariana Grande. Taylor Swift or Ariana Grande?
Ariana Grande. Oh, well, but you're going to go with the numbers, and Taylor Swift is a lot taller.
No, here's what I'm going to go with. Taylor Swift is much more beautiful, but Ariana Grande's body is insane.
I'm taking Ariana Grande, but really the whole premise behind this is absurd.
I think I'm going to take Taylor Swift because I know she's like 6'1" or something, isn't she?
She is. And Taylor Swift is the winner. Taylor Swift, 34A. Ariana Grande, 32A. Gentlemen.
This is just ridiculous.
Oh, you're ridiculous. Gentlemen.
No, the number doesn't. She's like a foot taller. Of course it's bigger. It doesn't mean her breasts are bigger.
Gentlemen, whose is bigger? Jennifer Lawrence or the belle of the current ball, Barbie herself, Margot Robbie? Gentlemen, whose is bigger?
I am totally going Jennifer Lawrence. I'm a huge Jennifer Lawrence fan, and I've just decided that whatever she's in, I'm going to give it a shot. She's kind of like my Vince Vaughn, like my female Vince Vaughn.
It's like my Nick Cage.
Well, she just stopped picking that. Yeah, maybe. But also in this latest movie that I just saw that she's in, No Hard Feelings, she gets in a fist fight on the beach while she's naked. So she's in a fight scene while she's naked.
Oh, she's hot. She's got good body.
And I don't think I've ever seen her exposed before, and I was blown away. I was like, hang on a second.
She's done naked.
What else was she like? Dallas Buyers Club? What was she in that she was naked?
American Hustle. I think she was.
There you go. There you go. I did see that. I take it back.
All right, gentlemen. So who's is bigger, Jennifer Lawrence or Margot Robbie? Schwartz?
I'm taking Margot Robbie, but honestly, I'm semi-checked out on this now.
You suck. It's why you lost. Jennifer Lawrence, James. You're right. 34B versus 32B. Bigger.
Oh, you're gonna piss him off when you keep doing that. You gotta go cup size, or he's gonna be really mad if you keep doing that.
No, it's okay.
Here's a good one.
But just so I can plan the rest of my evening, how many more of these do we have?
50 if we want. I'll do it as many as I want. I might do 2 more. I might do 50 more.
I wanted to talk about the broad.
Let's move on to Bollywood now.
I wanted to talk about the broad that pretended to kidnap herself.
Gentlemen, whose is bigger? Scarlett Johansson?
Yes.
Or Halle Berry?
Scarlett Johansson.
Schwartz? James is very confident on this one.
What the hell? I'll take Halle Berry.
Halle Berry, much larger. 36 double D versus Scarlett Johansson, 32
Okay, and here comes the absurdity of it. There's no way Halle Berry's breasts are bigger than Salma Hayek's.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous.
Well,
it's this whole thing is absurd.
Right. How about a little Friday Night Lights action? Now, James, I know that you can probably Schwartz, you just ignore this one. James, whose is bigger? Bra size? Tyra Collette, as played by Adrian Palicki, or Lila Garrity, as played by Minka Kelly. Whose are bigger?
Tyra Collette.
He goes with Adrian Palicki. Schwartz, you don't know the show.
I don't know.
Here's the thing.
But I'll take Palicki.
Because she's like 6'1" too, isn't she?
Adrian Palicki is gigantic. She's like super tall and like one of the hottest people on the earth. Adrian Palicki is so hot, but Minka Kelly is like the most beautiful person, the most beautiful woman God ever created. You know what I mean? Both of these women are like unbelievable. But Schwartz, I'm going to need your help here because I think Adrian Palicki, Tyra Collette is our winner. I think. Dude, one of them is a 40B. What is a 40B? That's Adrian Palicki. She's a 40B. Minka Kelly is a 34C.
Okay, so
this is the
okay.
we're worried
Do you
about.
know how bra sizes work?
He doesn't.
Yeah, I know the it's the back size, the stretch with the band, and then the cup is the letter.
Yeah.
The
so
number,
basically,
like
what it is you measure. First of all, they're totally inaccurate, but you measure around the breasts and you measure around the chest just below the breasts. So the number is the measurement of the chest just below the breast. The cup size reflects the number of inches bigger the breast measurement is than the chest measurement.
You want to know?
A, it's 1 inch bigger. B, it's 2 inches. C, it's 3 inches.
You made boobs no fun. What are we in class now? Moving on. All right, the last one that we're going to do here. And this is an interesting one. Because although both are big stars now, one of them got their break as a double for the other. Gentlemen, whose is bigger, Natalie Portman or the actress who was cast to be her double in Star Wars, whatever the fuck that was, Keira Knightley? Whose is bigger, Natalie Portman or her double, Keira Knightley? And it is freaky how much these two women look alike. I mean, it's like,
one of them
I'm
has
taking Keira Knightley.
Anything, and I'm leaning Natalie Portman.
You're leaning. Schwartz is going Keira Knightley, and James is going Natalie Portman, and the winner is Natalie Portman. Natalie Portman, 32B, and Keira Knightley, 32A.
Her and Kate Beckinsale, nothing. They got nothing. There was something Keira Knightley did where she was supposed to be in like the Renaissance or whatever, when they wear the aristocratic ball gowns with the bustier that pushes all your stuff up into your. Like if my wife wears one of those, her boobs are like in her chin. She can't even look down without her chin touching her boobs. And I'm not just bragging, but Keira Knightley's still got nothing. Just nothing.
Schwartz, how would you fix that? Chin boob problem, a big issue.
No, that's a feature, not a flaw. How would you fix Keira Knightley?
Breast implants. pretty straightforward.
And honestly, I think that's the only thing you could do to Keira Knightley. She's like really pretty. So
pretty flawless other than that, yeah.
Yeah, pretty flawless. All right, we're in the theme song because I'm done with you people.
No, let Schwartz plug your business, man. Now we talked about boobs. People might be
Well, thank you very much, James. Robert Schwartz Plastic Surgery. The website is rsplastic.com. Feel free to take a look. Lots of before and afters and results on there. See what we do.
Naked pictures? Is that what you're telling me? We could go and we could see boobs?
Yeah, that's not what I was exactly telling you.
You do that lame thing where you don't let us see like the full body. Like, here's what you need to do for your book. You need to have them full body shots in clothes, and then like you need to split screen it, and the next one's got to be the same full body shot, just naked. Then you'd get a lot more traction, I think, on your site if that's what you did.
All right, I'll look into that tomorrow morning first thing. I'll get on that.
Didn't you have Kelly's boobs in your book at some point, and people would call in going, I think I saw your boobs?
She actually was, but not identified as such.
Right, because you don't put faces, which totally.
No, there's no way anyone could be sure. But she mentioned a bunch of times that she was on the website because she recognized them, and then people would try to play a guessing game to figure out which were hers.
Right, but it didn't have her face on it. It just said you can hear these boobs on 105.3 from stern to 3 p.m. Right?
Yeah, well, basically from like the bottom of the neck to the upper abdomen.
All right, I'm done. I'm done with you people. This has been my birthday, and it's been an absolutely awful birthday. What? James, don't just make me big. You don't need to just make me big.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Oh, shut up. You were awful to me in my game that I worked so hard on. You made me feel like a piece of shit on my birthday. Deal with that.
It wasn't anything about you. It was about the premise of the game itself.
The premise of the game is flawless. Anyway, I threw up.
And it in no way should diminish from your birthday, which is very important.
I threw up before we came on the air. There you go. How many people can say they vomited on their birthday? And not
You're putting too much pressure on yourself about this game.
I didn't throw up because of that.
Why'd you barf?
You know what?
Why did you throw up?
Yeah, you're a doctor, man. I throw up a lot lately. I throw up weekly, and it's just, here's the problem. So I have dealt my entire life with crazy allergies where I get all of this phlegm, and it really, air conditioning. When I'm exposed to air conditioning for a really long time, my allergies go nuts and my head becomes like cement. Like it just becomes a headache, just terrible allergies. But then without any warning, that shit turns into like just liquid, just floor. It stops being concrete and then it all comes out. Now I've dealt with this my entire life. I call it air conditioning flu. I get a little sore throat and I get all these phlegmy and stuff. But only recently, and this has been like the last 2 times I get my allergy attacks, spring and fall. This is now the second time I've now added vomiting because of all the phlegm and runoff, that I get from my sinuses, and it ends up in my stomach, and I get a stomach ache, and then I vomit, and I'm like, great, this is what being old is. Now I'm gonna vomit like once a week. What is that?
Not 100% sure that's what's going on here.
What do you think is going on?
Well, I don't know what's going on, but I wouldn't necessarily just write it off as that.
Yeah, you're always trying to get me some bad diagnosis. Schwartz is always like, go see a doctor. No.
Yeah. We'll talk tomorrow. I'll give you a referral to someone.
I'll see a doctor when the ambulance delivers me to him in the emergency room. That's when I'll see a doctor.
Yes, that's what we're trying to avoid.
That's what the country's trying to avoid. That's why our medical system is so wasted. All right, boys. Schwartz, thank you so much. We appreciate you jumping on. Come on, more. Don't stop being a diva.
I wasn't aware that I was a diva, but okay.
A little bit.
All right.
Want to go promote your Florida stories? It's a big podcast. Everybody's loving it.
Podcast. It's so awesome. Just
people are saying.
I know. Everyone loves it.
Where can you get it?
Wherever you listen to podcasts, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Up Your Butt, YouTube, Facebook, whatever.
People gave me nothing today. You're giving me nothing. All right, there you go. There they go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the Radio Misfits show for tonight, Thursday night. We're done for the week. We'll be back on Monday. Join me tomorrow at high noon for the High Noon Report. Hot topics, current events, trends, all of that kind of stuff. Thank you to Dr. Robert Schwartz, rsplastic.com. He is the, look, he's the best. I know he's my friend, and I said, but he's my friend because he's the best. And I was like, I should be friends with the best. So, it was a manipulation from the beginning, but here we are all these years later. So rsplastic.com. He is honestly one of the best plastic surgeons in the world. So, and we are happy to have him join us. James Parker as well, Florida Stories. You find it wherever you get your podcasts. And that's it. That's it. Me, I'm High Noon. You can join me tomorrow. Other than that, see you back here Monday night at 9 o'clock for more Radio Misfits, radiomisfits.com for all your podcast needs. And now live streaming. We do that too. Thanks, everybody. Love you. See you tomorrow. I can smile a little now. Things are going good. I always had to be on guard. That is understood. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. I am on a never-ending quest.